In 53 years of law, I prosecuted cold killers, calculated killers, killers who felt nothing. But the case I'm about to tell you, this one kept me up at night. Not because of the violence, not because of the evidence, but because of the friendship. 22 years. These two men had been best friends for 22 years. They were in each other's weddings. They coached their kids' little league teams together. They called each other brother. And one of them looked the other in the eye. A man who trusted him completely, and ended his life. I've asked myself 1,000 times since then, was there a moment when it could have been stopped? I still don't have an answer. This is the story of Ryan Callahan and Marcus Webb, and the 22 years that ended on a fishing trip. October 11, 2011. Lake Harwell, Anderson County, South Carolina. Marcus Webb called 911 at 7:23 in the morning. He was out of breath, voice shaking. He said, "My friend, he fell off the boat. I can't find him. I can't find him. Please send somebody." Search and rescue arrived within 20 minutes. They found Ryan Callahan's body floating 40 yards from the boat, face down, fully clothed, life jacket sitting and used on the boat deck. Marcus Webb was standing on the shore, soaking wet, shivering. He told officers, "We were fishing." He leaned over the side, lost his balance. "I jumped in after him but I couldn't reach him. I tried. I swear I tried." The first officers on scene had no reason to doubt him. Marcus Webb was visibly distraught. He was shaking. He was crying. He kept saying Ryan's name over and over. The initial report listed the death as accidental drowning, and it would have stayed that way if Ryan Callahan's wife hadn't made one phone call, 3 days after the funeral, to my office. Ryan Callahan and Marcus Webb met in September 1989, freshman year, University of Cincinnati, assigned as roommates in Morgan's Hall. By all accounts, they were opposites. Ryan was quiet, studious, an engineering major, tall, lean, serious eyes, the kind of guy who read books for fun. Marcus was loud, charming, a business major, the guy who knew everybody's name by the second week of school. Natural salesman, natural leader. They should not have been friends. They became inseparable. Ryan's mother told me, Marcus was at our house every Thanksgiving for 15 years. I thought of him as my second son. After college, Ryan became a structural engineer, married Sandra Callahan in 1997. 2 kids, a boy and a girl. Stable, comfortable, good life. Marcus went into finance, started his own investment firm, Webb Capital, in 2001. Married, divorced, remarried. More money than Ryan. Bigger house, flashier car, but Ryan never cared about that. In 2004, Marcus approached Ryan with an opportunity. He said, "I'm starting a new fund, private investors only. I want you in. Get in early and you'll be set for life." Ryan trusted Marcus completely. He invested $340,000. His entire savings, his kids' college fund, everything. Marcus said, "Brother, I'll take care of you, I promise." Ryan Callahan believed him. He always believed him. For 4 years, everything seemed fine. Marcus sent Ryan quarterly statements, solid returns, 8, 9, 10% annually. Ryan slept well at night. But in 2008, the financial crisis hit. Markets collapsed. Funds dissolved overnight. Thousands of investors lost everything. Ryan called Marcus. Marcus said, "It's bad, really bad. But your money is protected. Different fund, different structure. You're okay." Ryan exhaled. He trusted Marcus. In early 2009, Ryan's daughter needed surgery. Unexpected medical bills. Ryan called Marcus and asked to withdraw $50,000 from his investment. Marcus said, "Give me 2 weeks. Liquidity issues. You know how it is." 2 weeks passed. No money. Ryan called again. Marcus said, "1 more week. I promise. 1 more week." No money. Ryan hired a financial attorney. The attorney made some calls, and then called Ryan back with news that made Ryan physically sick. Webb Capital had collapsed in 2008. The fund Ryan invested in, gone. All of it. Every dollar. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was that Marcus Webb had known since October 2008. For over a year, he had been sending Ryan fake statements, fabricated returns, made up numbers, while Ryan's $340,000 sat, not invested, not growing. Gone. Ryan confronted Marcus face to face. In Marcus's office. Just the two of them. Sandra told me later that Ryan came home that evening. And he sat at the kitchen table and didn't speak for 2 hours. Finally he said, he knew, Sandy. He knew the whole time, and he looked me in the eye every single week, and he lied to me. Ryan Callahan filed a civil fraud lawsuit against Marcus Webb in March 2010. Now, this is where it gets complicated. Because Marcus Webb did not respond like a guilty man who wanted to settle quietly. He responded like a man who was furious. He called Ryan the night the lawsuit was filed. Sandra heard Ryan's side of the conversation. She told me, I've never heard Ryan raise his voice in 14 years of marriage. That night, he was screaming. Marcus told Ryan, according to Ryan's own account to his attorney, that he would destroy him. That Ryan was ungrateful. That Marcus had done everything for him. That if Ryan pursued this lawsuit, he would regret it. Ryan did not back down. The discovery process revealed everything. Fraudulent statements. Misappropriated funds. Marcus had used investor money, including Ryan's, to fund his own lifestyle. His second wedding. His beach house in Hilton Head. Marcus Webb was looking at not just civil liability, but criminal fraud charges. His attorney told him he was facing federal prosecution. The civil trial was scheduled for November 2011. On October 8, 3 days before Ryan's death, Marcus called Ryan and suggested they go on their annual fishing trip to Lake Harwell. He said, we need to talk. Just us. Like the old days. Please. Ryan told Sandra he wasn't sure he should go. Sandra told him, maybe he wants to settle. Maybe he finally wants to make it right. Ryan went. He should not have gone. Sandra Callahan called my office 3 days after the funeral. She was calm. Eerily calm. She said, Mr. Whitmore, my husband could swim. He swam every summer of his life. He was not afraid of water. He would never lean over the side of a boat without a life jacket. I told her to come in. She brought Ryan's phone records. She had already pulled them herself. October 8th, the day Marcus called to suggest the trip. Ryan had received a call from his financial attorney 1 hour before Marcus called. The attorney had called to tell Ryan that the fraud case had just become a federal criminal referral. Marcus Webb was about to be indicted. Marcus knew this. He had his own attorney. He knew the indictment was coming. He knew Ryan's testimony would be the centerpiece of the prosecution. I called the medical examiner. Asked for a second look at Ryan Callahan's autopsy. 3 things came back. First, Ryan's blood alcohol level was 0.09. Slightly impaired. Marcus later said they had been drinking beers on the boat. Plausible. But Ryan's wife said Ryan almost never drank. Especially not in the morning. Second, Ryan had a contusion on the back of his head. Small. Easy to miss. The first examiner had attributed it to impact with the boat during the fall. The second examiner was less certain. Third, and this was the one that changed everything. Ryan Callahan's lungs contained almost no water. A drowning victim's lungs fill with water as they struggle. Ryan's lungs were nearly dry. He wasn't breathing when he entered the water. Ryan Callahan was dead before he hit the lake. We had a problem. The physical evidence was strong, but not airtight. Defense could challenge the lung finding, challenge the contusion. Medical examiners disagree all the time. I needed more. We subpoenaed Marcus Webb's phone records. 3 calls on the morning of October 11th, before the 911 call. 2 to his personal attorney. 1 to a number we didn't recognize. We traced the unknown number. It belonged to a woman named Diane Kozlowski, a paralegal at Marcus's law firm. A woman Marcus had been romantically involved with for 8 months. We interviewed Diane Kozlowski. She was cooperative. Nervous, but cooperative. She told us that on the night of October 10th, the night before the fishing trip, Marcus had come to her apartment. He was agitated, drinking. He said, everything is falling apart. Ryan is going to testify against me. I can't let that happen. She said she thought he meant he was going to try to talk Ryan out of testifying. She said she didn't think. She stopped mid-sentence. Looked down at her hands. Then said, I didn't want to think what it might mean. We had our motive. We had our timeline. We had our witness. Marcus Webb was arrested on November 3, 2011, charged with first-degree murder.
He didn't say a word. He just kept staring at the floor.
The friendship was over, but the truth was just beginning.
Marcus Webb hired the best defense attorney in South Carolina, Franklin Dobbs, sharp man, expensive man. The defense strategy was straightforward: attack the forensics, attack Diane Kozlowski's credibility, paint Ryan Callahan's death as a tragic accident between two old friends on a lake. Dobbs was good. I'll give him that. He had an expert witness challenge the lung findings. He suggested Ryan had a heart episode before hitting the water, explaining the dry lungs. He called Diane Kozlowski a scorned woman, suggested she was lying out of spite after Marcus ended the relationship. It was working. I could see two jurors wavering. Then I called Sandra Callahan to the stand. Sandra Callahan was not a dramatic woman. She didn't cry on the stand. She didn't raise her voice. She sat with her hands folded and she answered every question clearly and quietly. I asked her, "Mrs. Callahan, how long had your husband known Marcus Webb?" She said, 22 years. I asked, "In those 22 years, did Marcus Webb ever come to your home?" She said, "Hundreds of times." I asked, "Did your children know Marcus Webb?" She said, "He was their Uncle Marcus. My son wanted to name his dog after him." I let that sit for a moment. Then I asked, "Mrs. Callahan, after your husband filed the fraud lawsuit, did Marcus Webb ever reach out to you, to your children? Did he ever express any remorse?" Sandra looked at Marcus Webb directly for the first time during the entire trial. She said, "He sent flowers to the funeral. There was a card. It said, with deepest sympathy, Marcus." She paused. That was the last we ever heard from him. I looked at the jury. Two of them had tears in their eyes. The ones who had been wavering. They weren't wavering anymore. The jury deliberated for 9 hours. Guilty. First-degree murder. Marcus Webb stood completely still when the verdict was read. No emotion, no reaction. The same charm, the same control, that had made him so dangerous. Gone now. Just emptiness. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole. The federal fraud charges were filed separately. He was convicted on those as well, adding 18 years to a sentence he would never finish anyway. Sandra Callahan received a civil judgment against Webb Capital's remaining assets. Enough to cover the children's college education. Not enough to cover everything that was lost. It never is. Ryan's mother, the woman who had called Marcus her second son for 15 years. She was in the courtroom every single day of the trial. She never once looked at Marcus Webb. Not once. In 3 weeks. After the verdict she came to me in the hallway. She took both my hands in hers and she said, "How does a person do that to someone who loved them?" I didn't have an answer for her. In 53 years, I still don't. Marcus Webb had everything. A successful business. A beautiful home. Friends who genuinely loved him. And when it started to crumble, when his own choices started to catch up with him, instead of facing it, he decided to eliminate the one person who could hold him accountable. His best friend. The man who trusted him more than anyone on earth. I've thought about Ryan Callahan many times over the years. I think about him getting into that boat. Maybe hoping Marcus wanted to apologize. Maybe hoping they could fix things. 22 years of friendship. You don't give up on that easily. That trust, that loyalty, it's what got him killed. Be careful who you trust with everything, folks. Even the people who call you brother. I'm Harold Whitmore. I'll see you in the next case.